Hello everyone, welcome back to our React series. In this video, we will discuss about component, why it is being used in React with examples. So by end of this video, you will be in a position to write components confidently. So without a further ado, let's dive in. So what is component? A component in React is a reusable self-contained piece of UI which help us to break an entire application into a smaller manageable parts. So I will give you an example in a few minutes. But before that, let's understand types of component in React. So mainly there are two types of component in React. First, class-based component. Second, functional-based component. So class-based components were used predominantly before hooks came into picture. But in earlier version of React, like class-based components were used predominantly. But nowadays, functional-based components are more used. Mainly, we will see examples of both. But going forward, we will create only functional-based components. So let's see first how we can break entire application into smaller manageable piece. So let's take a typical website where we will have a header. We'll have a logo, side navbar will be there, and then some main content area will have some content. Again, footer, and sometimes footer also contains the logo. So if I have to break this entire application, as you can see, logo could be one component. Again, the items that will be there in sidebar, that could also be a component, and sidebar itself is a component. As you can see, this entire application has been broken into a component. This is how you can break. You can think a piece which can be reusable, you can create component out of it so that it will be easy to manage and can be reused. Let's see some examples how we can create components of both type, like class-based component as well as functional-based component. I will start with the functional-based component. So here I have a project that I've already created, but if you haven't created, you can watch my previous videos how to create a project. I will link on the top so you can use that video. So here what I will do, I will create a folder called components, and inside that I will first create welcome.tsx. In this series we will follow TypeScript. If you don't know about TypeScript, I will give a little insight on that. But if you already know TypeScript, good. So here I will start with the functional based component. So I will start by creating a function. So you can create normal function. I am going with the arrow function. So here I will start with a component name called welcome. And then this is going to return me a JSX. So here it will just say, let's say h1, and it is going to say welcome to React. Okay, so this is our first component. When we are creating functional based component, it is important to understand that you have to give the first letter as a capital letter so that React can understand this is component. Okay, since it is a plain function, React need to understand what is component, right? So we always start by capital letter. Now I have created this component, but I cannot use in other files. So what I have to do, I have to export this one. So I can do named export, but you can do default export as well. So if you have to do default export, then you need to do like export default, and then you can give welcome. All right. So this also works, but I'm going with the named export. Okay, so this is our first functional component. Now I want to use it to present this on a screen. So what I can do, I can go to my app.tsx file. Here right now nothing is there, so I will import this component. So if I save it and move to my browser, we can see this welcome to React. So this is how you can create a component and render this component. Previously I mentioned component can be reusable. So if I can just copy this twice, then it should print twice. But here you can see the compiler is throwing some error. So JSX must have one parent element. So what you can do, you can use a fragment. So fragment is nothing but opening and blank opening and closing element, so as angle bracket. So this you can use, or you can use div to wrap. But If you don't need extra div, you should use the fragment to just wrap multiple components into one. So here you can see now welcome twice. This is a component which is being reused twice. Now let's add some more functionality to it. So let's say we want to dynamically pass some message to this component, right? So how we can do that? So I will head over to again back to this component. Here I will define first the props type, like what type of data this component can accept. So to do that in TypeScript we can use type or interface. Here I am going with interface, okay? And here I will say this welcome props, and here I want to receive name from the user or whenever I am calling this component. So this is going to accept one property, and this property will call as a props. So let me define the types here in this function, right? So props, and this is going to be welcome props, okay? Now how to use this props? So first we have to DS structure. I'm going to DS structure, but you could just use a dot operator. So here props, I took props, and from that props I'm extracting the name, and now I need to present it on the screen. So I will use the curly braces, and here I will use the same variable called name. So now you can see this is going to accept name property from outside. So I will say here welcome to React, and we will pass some name. So we again go to app.tsx, and here now see it is giving a error like property name is missing. So I can provide here that name. So let's say full stack, and here we can say that name equal to universe. You can pass anything, universe, right? So as you can see, now this first one is printing welcome to React full stack, another one is printing welcome to React universe. So this is how you can make the component reusable, like taking some props from outside and reusing that same piece of code. So this is how we create functional based component. Now I will create hello.tsx, and this I'm going to create as a class based component. So to create a class based component, what we have to do, we have to again starting with export. You can do a default export, name export, it doesn't matter. So here I'm starting with export, then I can give a class, and here I'm going to give hello, right? And then it is very important, it should extend from React.component. So when we are creating class based component, we have to use the keyword class, then we have to extend from the base class of the React, right? So React.component. And the important thing is that in this class based component, we need to have a mandatory method called render, and this render is going to again return me a JSX, okay? So here I will do return, and let's say hello from class based component, right? Now same thing we can do here, we can just use this, let me format this, and here we will use again hello component, right? So let me do a self closing, and you can see now hello from the class based component. Now let's take name as a props to this component as well. So what we are going to do here is that we will define our props, right? So I will start with the interface. Let's say hello props, and then this is going to accept name, which is going to be type string, okay? Now what we can do here, we can define this, right, as an angle bracket. Now if you hover it, it is saying p, you can pass p, you can pass s is a state, p as a props. So I will pass here hello prop. Now how to use this? For that, in class based component you will have, let's say, const, you can say props, you can say this dot props dot name, right? You can directly get the name this dot prop, or you can destructure as well. So this dot props is the object, and from that object I can take out the name as well. So here I will take the name, and again I will append into this string. Now again go back where we are using it, and here we can pass, let's say, full stack again, right? So now you can see hello from class based component, and it is printing full stack. So this is how you can create, like, functional based component. Like, this is how you can create a functional based component. This is how you can create class based component, and this is how you can create prop definition, and how you can use these props. So this is all about the props and class. In the next video we will deep dive onto state. I think that's it for this video. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.